that also colleagues from Ukraine can participate with us. So in this period of transformation, because the work of the foundation was to bring up young people, to build up networks and strengthen our cooperation with Russian civil society, because this stopped and all this crisis came up, we launched in 2022 our first steps in going to new spaces for youth cooperation. So our idea was that those spaces, those rooms we had for youth exchange, so real exchange situations where young people play together, work together in one room, are difficult. Yeah? We are in time of crisis, and for several of you, you know that because you're from the practice. It's difficult in these times, not only in this context of Russian cooperation, also when we look up in the Near East with Israel, with Palestine, it's not the old world we were in. So we have to look up for new spaces, and this is why we developed this Play It Forward project. And as we were in our context not engaged in this field of games, this was something new. So this is also the title we choose, so Play It Forward. We didn't know about what will be the future of our exchange. At the moment, our foundation is looking for new partner regions in Central Asia and former Soviet countries, but we knew that the time will not come back. So we know that exchange programs has to be developed on a new base, and this is why we started with an innovation process. I will introduce you in our project after the keynote and after the first view into the practice. I wish you a very, very intensive day with good discussions and multi-perspective on the topics. I want to say that for us it's something new that we sit here together with people from the youth work, from the school exchange organizations, from different foundations who are participating, and also from gaming experts. Yesterday we already had a discussion with young people from Game Lab Cologne. I really enjoyed this, and I hope that we have during the bar camp and during all the other activities, we use the possibility to find new ways for youth exchange. And I want also to mention our two guests here from Slovenia and from UK. Thank you that you are here with us. It's really great pleasure, and I really hope that all the others will join us too. So thank you for now. And now we are, what will be the next?
I found your presentation,
but this is for the next.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, see you.
Cool. So if you don't want to spoil yourself with the presentation, close your eyes now. So, okay. So that's us, right? But you are amazing. There is a lot of people here, not actually in the audience right now, but hopefully a little bit later. But when I saw this correctly, we have 4 countries present. Lots of different cities, not just over Europe, but also in Germany. I saw people from Munich and other spaces which are usually quite far away. So thank you for being here, especially because you bring a lot of very different professions to the table. So I'm extremely excited to see where this goes when we talk about games and youth exchange with our different backgrounds. So what's going to happen? At first there will be a little keynote, and we will present later on 2 like practical examples how things can be done, and we continue to get practical with 3 workshops right afterward. We have some lunch around 12, then we will go through the exhibition a little bit, because you may are eager to see what's going on here with all the stuff happening, the colorful. We do a bar camp right after, where we get together and talk about what you want to talk about, get in groups, and try to find some interesting takeaways for us, maybe even some to-dos. That would be amazing. And afterwards we try to collect again and look forward what we can do next. And of course there's also dinner at the end. And if you want a VR tour where we dive into some VR worlds and see what it actually looks like. What else? So the building where we are right now is we are in front of the stage. And the spaces where we can go later on are the workshop spaces. And the reason I'm showing you this is because two are pretty obvious. It's one in the corner here, and the other one is in the corner of the other side of the building. But a third workshop will be upstairs. And when you go upstairs, you will come down from the stairs to this exit there, and then you just turn right, and then you are right in front of the workshop. I will probably be there and wave again, so you don't get lost, but so you know where to go. What else? You have a little room to the side over there, which is marked with, I think, guests only. That's you for today. And in this room, you may have seen this already. You can put your clothes and everything. There's also drinks and all these snack areas and dinner. And every time you want to eat something, that's also in the workshop corner to the other side when we meet again. Then there was something else, but I will tell you later, I guess. So. Then, yeah, it's already time for the keynote. Manu is over there. Yes, perfect. Ah, yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, yeah, we're very proud to have Manu up on stage. Manu is an advisor for the Foreign Office. No, not the Foreign Office. How is this called? Federal Foreign Office, yes, and you're there for communications, right? For gaming, yeah. But I guess you will tell us all about it. Yeah, maybe.
There are more interesting things.
Yeah, right. So let's just open your presentation here, and then I hand over the stage to you. So it's very blue. What's the shortcut again? L. Perfect. Does it work? Yes. Okay, there you go. Have fun. And big applause for Manu.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's my pleasure to be here. I know many people having been at the play for many years. Personally, it's my first time. And I hope I can concentrate because I'm quite immersed by... and I can still see it. That's a bit dangerous over there. All right. Okay. I'll try to stay serious. Thanks for having me. The question I want to guide us through for the moment is in regards to use exchange and all the complexity that we already heard about by Benjamin. In a variation of what Friedrich Schiller famously said, man is only living a full life when he plays. The question at hand is, can we only do exchange if we play? And I believe that's the case. I also do believe we need to look at this way more critical than we do right now. Now, this is nothing new for none of you. We've been using games of all kinds for teaching, for connecting, for building communities for a very, very long time. Most people are not aware when playing of the political dimensions of these games. This starts with ancient games like Mensch ärger dich nicht, which used to be a Buddhist game played in by Buddhist monks to showcase that only if you leave the real life and end up in nirvana, which is the middle of the game, then you will be free of all kind of pain. Everything else is just rebirth and rebirth and rebirth. One of the greatest success of capitalism was to include its greatest criticism as a business model. Now known as one of the most successful board games of all time, Monopoly originally was the Christian criticism of the fact that if you allow someone to own property, you will always end up having a monopoly. Again, now one of the most played game of all time. So none of the things that we're discussing, neither the chances nor the risks, are new. They are incorporated in our nature, which has been called the Homo ludens, compared to the Homo economicus and others that we are desperately trying to incorporate in our work today. Now, this is not a history lesson, but at some time, playing has become gaming. 200 years ago, we celebrate, quote unquote, that in this year, 1824, the use of war games has been included in the education of Prussian officers. On the right side, you see the NATO a wargaming event that took place a few weeks ago. The games still look pretty similar, but they impacted what we love so much. Again, this is not a history session, but war games turned to D&D and pen and paper games. Pen and paper games described by the Time a few months ago as the game that changed the world, then influenced heavily what we know today to be video games. So again, telling stories, building communities, but also using it as a way of informing and or disinforming has been there for centuries. Now, why is it so interesting to look at games specifically? Well, because there's a difference between if digitalizing something in American English. I don't know if we're live streaming and what the audience age is. In American English, there's a saying, if you digitalize a shitty process, you end up having a shitty digital process. Compare that to gaming as the very first digital-born cultural technique that we know about. Take Vivian Schwarzer as an example, a British creative who during, this is May 2020, first wave of Corona lockdown, started to have her team meetings in Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, of course, Red Dead Redemption 2, being a 700 million interdisciplinary, highly optimized virtual setup, is better in allowing immersion than Zoom or Teams can ever be. It is also a great example, that's why I'm using it, to show that gaming cannot be simply applied up on the issues we are working on. Because if you go back to that tweet, if you see the comments, you will see people saying, I've tried to do my meetings in Red Dead Redemption 2, the speaker wasn't able to come, he was killed by a mob on the way, or we had to postpone our workshop because we first had to defend ourselves against wolves that attacked. So gaming is the answer, it's the first digital-born technology we have, but it is not applicable without any adaptations. Now, why has Benjamin and the foundation invited me? It might have something to do with, not with our research at Humboldt University solely, but because this happened a while ago. When the Federal Foreign Office invited us to help them set up a gaming strategy, they, for the very first time, the federal German government had to make a statement on what they think about gaming. Because press asked them, why do we need a gaming advisor at the Federal Foreign Office? So they had to say something. They said the following: video games are the most used and far-reaching medium of our time, which makes them a relevant phenomenon in foreign policy, of which international use exchange is one subdivision. Now, the Federal Foreign Office went on to say that this is, for once, because of the technology policy implications of gaming. I don't want to go into the details, but when ChatGPT arrived, everyone was in awe and everyone was shocked, and this came overnight, and you read in German newspapers that this is a shockingly unexpected development, while the gaming community had been handling OpenAI AI agents for years in Dota 2. We even lost against them, so we were pretty well aware of what is coming. NVIDIA, the most valuable company of our time, thus of big interest to typical economic policy decision makers, is a gaming company. quantum computing, quantum technologies, this would be a long shot. But there are credible sources saying that quantum supremacy will be first seen in games. Now that's technology policy in its beautiful way. There's the downside as well. We know for many, many years that games as a medium using all these cutting-edge technologies are also used by non-state actors and state actors alike who want to build up offensive cyber capacities. We know that Discord, Twitch, all these platforms that no one is looking at are used for disinformation, for cognitive warfare, and it took the US intelligence community months to realize that highly secret classified military data is floating openly at Discord. I could also make the example of War Thunder. I don't know who of you guys plays War Thunder. That game keeps on giving. I think we're at the 14th time now that classified military documents have been leaked by angered players who say that if the game would have simulated this Russian airplane correctly, I would have won the fight. Here's my copy from my handbook to showcase. Not our main focus, technology policy. Foreign cultural and educational policy, auswärtige Kultur- und Bildungspolitik, that's where the beauty of use exchange happens. Now we know that games can be used to foster empathy. Doesn't come as a surprise. We know that it can be used, for example, by the NGO Reporters Without Borders to make accessible content that otherwise would be censored through a game. We know it is used by museums. We know it is used for public health. You saw a GTA yoga session before this all started, right? GTA has been used in Southern America quite successfully to reach out to youth audiences that had not been reachable by typical public health communication. If you vaccinated yourself in-game, you got in-game benefits. Sounds very undercomplex, turns out to be very effective if you want to start a conversation with young people on if they should think about getting vaccinated or not. It is incredibly important, that's why I love the play already, after what I've saw and heard, to connect all of this to art and other art forms that had been around using games, using what they can do for a very, very long time. As the diplomatic career pointed out a few months ago, it is a decisive moment for other art forms to connect and reconnect with what gaming can allow them to achieve. You could look at museums for that example, who are not in our focus right now, so we won't do that. Der Wettbewerb der Narrative, competition of narratives, that is the most important arena that we are in right now. The Federal Foreign Office has done some work advised by us and others, like playing Civilization with rocket beans and commenting on what's happening in the game by a real diplomat. But we are way behind. Yes, the Federal Foreign Officer opened the Gamescom a few years ago, but the State Department has been doing video game-based diplomacy for many, many years. Our adversaries, right, the autocracies in the world have been doing this for way longer. This is research by Oxford from 2013. You might ask yourself why Saudi Arabia is investing heavily in e-sport. That's not charity over there. That is sports diplomacy in the 21st century. For me, having a Persian heritage, these examples are pretty close to my heart. There are reasons why the Islamic Revolutionary Guards put out games that are called Attack on Tel Aviv. There are reasons why they put out successful games in which you save the life of George Floyd, showing that the Islamist theocracy in Iran is morally above the degenerated US policy. people. And as we're at the Russian German Youth Exchange Foundation, we just got evidence for what we have been observing for many, many years, that Russia is extremely successful in using gaming-based platforms and influencers in the cognitive warfare that they are doing and the disinformation that they're spreading. Now, have a look at what's saying there. It's a mod. We'll come back to this mod versus building your own games later. It is important to understand that every game, nearly every game, has a political narrative. Skyrim, one of the most beloved games of all time. If you play Skyrim, at some point you're making a decision. Who played Skyrim? I don't think we have the time for the interaction, right? Skyrim belongs to the North or not? North, there you go. That's a separatist over there, right? Willing to sacrifice the integrity and internal democracy of the North for its sovereignty. Everyone who has played Skyrim over the last decades has been confronted with the most important, morally most complex issue of international relations, that is responsibility to protect. Are we allowed and or morally obliged to intervene in a sovereign country to save minorities, to stop genocides, right? This is a core principle of German foreign policy. Again, everyone who has played Skyrim, if you haven't been too stupid about the main campaign, at some point you needed to decide, is it the Empire or is it the North? Who is reflecting with the hundreds of millions of young people who have made that decision? Way more people have made that decision, thus having been confronted with responsibility to protect, than played serious games combined, right? That's the main message here. We are focusing on the wrong arenas. Some insights that I would like to sum up with the working hypothesis: we are bringing knives to gunfights. No offense. This is our beautiful series games in the area of soft power and public policy. On the left side, you see a game from 2013, more than a decade old, where you could shop in a US mall that was literally paid for by the US State Department's counterterrorism unit. The idea that was publicly stated was that if young people from the Middle East realize how many things you can shop in an American mall, they would not radicalize. Right? Okay. 2008, then Foreign Minister of Germany already had invited people from the gaming community in the State Department. Now, more than a decade later, this is how our games look like, right? The State Department games, I'm not going to comment on that. Check it out. Our game, the Federal Foreign Office, against our advice, invested hundreds of thousands of euros in developing a video game that I believe... Are we chat im Haus? No one's streaming, right? Anyone streaming? No. I think it's 600 downloads. Take away my students, you're half of that. Take away a few diplomats that have to play that, and a bunch of people that have been forced to play it at schools, and it's a case for the Bundesrechnungshof. You don't want to know how much money went into this. During that time, what happened on the autocracy? The left game is a decade-old game in which you replay something that happened in Afghanistan during the first Afghanistan war. In this game, paid for by the Orthodox Church of Russia, the Russian army wins, while in reality, they lost. That's disinformation right over there. Out of that came mods, again, mods for Arma 3 and others that have been heavily viral on social media and on national television in the West, showing stuff that happened in the Ukraine, but it never happened in the Ukraine. It was Arma 3 all the time along, but the quality control of our national television wasn't able to identify that. To sum it up, we know that video games can be misused. We need to take place. I know that not everyone is a big fan of that, but we need to take place in the arenas that the big video games are, that Twitch is, streamers, and so on. It cannot be the serious games only. What else can we do? What's the beautiful upside of this? The discussion in the US was a bit different than ours. Ours is usually heavily making a distinction between this is a commercial game that is out there for fun, and this is a serious game, right? That's the heir to the Prussian War game, developed by Prussian people with Prussian mentality, and in the end, some game designer is allowed to come and make some nice add-ons. The US discussion is called Games for Impact, because this position includes using the games and the platforms that are out there. We are doing that ourselves. We have been doing German-Turkish youth exchange programs in Minecraft. There's no need to come up with your own games. We have been doing projects for the state of Bavaria and our national technology academy, the Akatech, where young people from school have been invited to build the city they are afraid of or they would love to live in Minecraft, and we later invited political decision makers to show them around, to discuss with them, why did you deactivate the bees? Well, because we are highly afraid of biodiversity loss and of a city in which bees do not exist. There have been incredible hybrid art exhibitions that have been open for people from the global south who would not have been able to get a visa or would not be able to pay for it. In Fortnite, why does everyone has to come up with their own platform if you can use Fortnite? If the Serpentine Gallery, one of the world's leading, technically most conservative art galleries, is able to use Fortnite in collaboration with their artists, why aren't we? Where do your students and the participants of your youth exchange want to meet? If you ask them, without telling them before, they tend to build their own stuff, which is beautiful. Again, during Corona, we have seen students all over the world coming up, making their own music festivals in games. Pretty close to what creative gaming is doing, right? But from the target group, so to say. They built their own university campuses. That's where they want to meet, not on Teams, maybe not on some serious game. Here's a project I want to share in which we have used the metaversity approach, which is the combination of two buzzwords. Ourself was just released a few weeks ago. It's not public yet. So the European Union, the European Institute of Technologies for Raw Materials, that wanted to reach out to the European youth and explaining to them that they should consider studying, making collaborations on the issue of raw materials, because that is we need to get less dependent on autocracies in the field of raw materials, and we need talents for that. This is what the students built. This wasn't us. It was their own meeting place in Minecraft that they built. This is where they wanted to meet. All this is beautiful for inclusion as well. Take this as an example. I'm not going to spell the name because I guarantee I'll make it wrong. This is a game developed, modded by the First Nation of Canada, where you experience, young people from all over the world are invited to experience in this game the stories, the narratives of the First Nation of this part of Canada. Beautiful project that you might want to check this out. Now, there are risks in all of this. I shared with you the autocracies and the non-state terrorist actors are way better than we are in using this. You could go on in detail. Terror financing is happening in games. I'm a gamer by heart. I want this all not to happen, right? But for this not to happen, we need to get out of our bubble and we need to take the conversation to where the main communities are meeting. That is Twitch, that is Discord, that is not as sorry as I am, that is not festivals like Play, Gamescom, and so on. There is a self-selection happening, and we need to get better in being where the real important and impactful stuff with hundreds of millions of gamers happens. I'm happily sharing the study that we've been doing for the Institute of Auslandsbeziehungen. You can download it. It's the main foundation in Germany looking at Auswärtige Kultur- und Bildungspolitik. You're happily invited to Germany's largest exhibition on the impact of games on society, which we've been co-curating in Friedrichshafen. We are going to finish up a project for the NATO Public Diplomacy Division end of this year. Whoever's interested, have a look. We'll share that. It's just going to focus more on the risks, obviously. And we just had a book chapter out that a few days ago on how AI plays into making proto-metaverses and virtual worlds better so that you can have better community building, intercultural exchange, like youth exchange there. And with that, as we tend to say, good game, and thanks for having me.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was cool. You're here all day, right? Not all day. How long are you here?
A moment.
A moment. Okay. Do we have some questions from the audience for Manu? Okay.
There's one.
Oh, there is one. Perfect. Oh, you have to speak up, or yeah. Oh, come up on stage. Come up.
Yeah, come on stage.
Come on stage.
I hope everyone can hear me. Hi, I just wanted to ask, what are the upcoming events that you planned, or maybe academic programs, workshops you planned, so that perhaps game developers like me can attend and
Right. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the interest. There is a lot happening. We are at the moment focusing a bit on turning this into a further education module as Humboldt University, which then would be able to be done probably in the proto-metaverse as well. That's up to debate with the university administration. Happy to let you know. A lot is going to happen in Chemnitz next year, if you look at Germany, because Chemnitz is the European capital of culture of 2025, and they are looking heavily into gaming as this transmedial art form. So maybe you wanna look out for that. Full stop. If you're interested in all of this, something that I can also suggest to look in as a game dev is the upcoming scholarship program by the Bundesbeauftragte für Kultur und Medien. So again, our federal government, which that's a story for the bar, what happened there, but it took them a very long time to come up with a way of using that money. It was very complicated, self-made complexity. But now one program is there that you can apply for, Press Starts Stipendium, and that is specifically looking at games that have a specific cultural and/or cultural policy dimension. So that would be a perfect fit for anyone wanting to work into that field. Just don't tell me, because I'm in the jury, and that will lead to compliance issues. So apply, but don't let me know.
Cool, thanks. Okay. Yeah, thanks again. Now we have a special guest. Julia is coming up to stage. Julia is part of the project called Zukunftswerkstatt, and she's telling us a little bit about Zukunftsstadt. Yeah, not Werkstatt. So future city. It's a project done in Minecraft where communities meet and no, I'm giving away. So clap your hands for Julia, please. Okay, now we get you the microphone.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I need a chair. My knee is a little bit broken. Yeah. Future City. First, I want you all, please, to close your eyes. And now imagine we have the year 2072. So a bit in the future. And now I want you to generate a picture in your head, like you walk through the streets. But you know it's 2072. But it's a normal day for you. So, what do you see? I guess. Okay, I think you can open your eyes again. Does anyone want to tell me what he saw? Alistair. Okay, it was flooded. You see, yeah, that's our city in 2072. It's maybe a bit more modern than now, but it's basically like a normal city. Because we thought, okay, flying cars or robot dogs? No. You know, like it is now, it's okay. Of course, there are things that could be better, but yeah, like it looks, I think it works. So 4 years ago, 2 people started a project called Future City or Zukunftsstadt, and it was while COVID, and they wanted to connect young people and told them, okay, hey, now here we are. We meet once in a month for a weekend online, and then we start building a city. And then we started. First we had like, okay, we need buildings to live in. We need, a hospital. And like that, the city grew. And now, 4 years later, we have a big city. We have, what you see here now is our parliament. We have our own parliament, our own political system, because we thought, okay, we need structure. We need the people to have, a clear structure so they feel safe. And what you see here now, this is our place where we go in and discuss problems. We have me, for example. I am the Minister for Animal Security, and we have like a president, and everyone has like his own job and his own tasks. And like that, we have our own city, and it's just like a place where you can go and just build something and create something new. And now, 4 years later, we have like a small group of people, like young people, and we call them the OGs because they are they're from the beginning till now. And it's like that the two adults that started this project gave more and more of the responsibilities to the youth, to the OGs, and like that, I'm an OG too, and like that we started to, we introduced new people, we have our own server, we host the server, and like that, these small group of people who all love Minecraft and the creativity, now we are like a friend group. Out of, I think we are 6 or 7 people. We are still the OGs, and Future City still exists. But out of this project, out of this city, now we have like a friend group who we meet, we celebrate our birthdays, we go to festivals together, and I'm very, very thankful to the two adults that started this project, because they gave me friends, and they gave me a place where I can be like I am, and
I prepared some questions, but I think you already answered all of them. Maybe one thing, people who did this project, they're here as well, right? One. No, I mean like from you, right? So how came that to be?
Because we thought, okay, last year we thought, okay, this project, it's so cool, and it's so good, and we made so much in this 4 years that we thought, okay, we want to present it to other people. First, we wanted to go to the Gamescom, but the people were rude, so we thought, nope. And then we came here to play. And last year we presented Future City. We had like 3D models of some buildings and pictures, and then we 3 of us stayed in Young Play, me, my sister, and a friend. And now we are, that's something too. Out of this project, we have found another cool thing to do. Sadly, it's only once in a year, but this is like, I always look forward for this festival, even if I'm only 1 year here, but
Okay, Julia, then thanks for this insight. You can go and you can take your chair if you want. Okay, thank you. Applause for Julia. So, Julia will be here all day, so if you have any questions, you can go to her. You can find her at the booth over there. And I think it really connects well to what Manu said earlier, that people, when you ask them, they build their own stuff. So they really did. And from this online community, they developed this community, which is here. And Julia's always playing herself a little bit short, but they're not only doing this exhibition, they're doing talks, and they have show programs. And Julia especially, she's doing a podcast. So she may be running around and is trying to interview you later. So, but we have another example, which is going to be presented by Benjamin. Where's Benjamin again? There he is. Perfect. And I'll just open your presentation, and then you're ready to go.
Well, thank you, Julia. For me, it was a good example to see how young people can brought together through games. And although your project, Julia, was not international, of course it's possible to transfer this project in our sphere. And we would love to discuss you, Julia, in the Barcamp and all the groups, what we can learn from this project, that young people live together somehow in a self-reigned republic on this software, so on this platform you all know, Minecraft. So I want to tell you something about our own projects. We did an innovation process, and I already mentioned, so our idea was to develop something where we can use this idea of games, this power, also Manu told you about, for our youth exchange. And of course for us it was something really new, because most of us are working in the pedagogical field, in the non-formal education, but of course, and all those who are doing games, this is always connected also with a lot of negative ideas we have about gamers. We always have a look on the destructive power there, and not so much the focus on the potential of being friends, building bridges, building boundaries between, or building relations between countries. So our idea was, I mentioned that, but I re-mentioned that these crisis times needs or brings us to the point that we have to develop something new for us. And so we started something new, and we did it in an innovation process. We had an agency which supported us, and we built up a structure, innovation, so that means that we were testing on different steps what might be a good idea to bring young people together, what can we learn from these young people when they be in the games. We had a kind of studio situation where we invited young people to test with us how these relations can be built in games. So this was like a study, and well, we used 1 year to work on this. So, and of course it's important that, and this is also important for us here, when we start something new and we don't know already whether this will work, we have to be open, and we have to be in the situation that, of course, we can do something wrong. Yeah? So I learned this from these software guys, like my friend Michael there. It's important when you start programming something, or you start putting a lot of energy in something, it's needed that you don't do your plan for 1 year, for example, and after 1 year programming or conceptioning, you test it and then you fail because, you don't know yet whether this will work. So you do smaller steps. So, and this is what we did. We did smaller steps and tried to find out what is a good idea and what is a, well, let's say not so good idea to develop exchanges. And for our youth exchange, we worked with two hypotheses. I googled this, how to pronounce it, so hypothesis. And so there's one you might all know. This is maybe the base of youth exchange. So the contact hypothesis. It means that when we have contacts between groups, between people, it reduces the prejudices and under certain conditions, and we can learn from each other. We can start to find these relations. And stronger than that, just to be in contact, just to have the idea that, well, not every guy from the UK is like the government there, yeah, that I have an individual picture of you that I can see, okay, we are all individuals, we are all diverse. There's this social capital we can build, and we call it social bridging, when I can see there's a deep relation between us. So whenever we work together, whenever we come deeper in contact to each other, there might be the situation, or we know that from friendships, which is what we call that when we learn people in youth exchange, then it's possible to bridge, yeah, to have deep relations. And what we wanted to know and what we came up with was that the idea that not only in our standard situation, so bringing young people together in one place and participating in one program, this social bridging is possible also through games and through the usage of games. This social bridging can happen. And this is what we tried out and tried to implement it in our youth exchange. What we found out and what we did was we did a kind of Wohngemeinschaft, so community to live together, have a common flat and share everything. And this is where we learned, for example, Vanya, who's here from, he lived in these times in Macedonia and entered in our gaming WG, as we call it. And the participants started to work together on common tasks. So they had to decide about the design of the community. They built some things. You can ask Ivan what they did there. So we did it with Gather Town, which is a very simple 2D platform. Here you can see how avatars looks like. So and there we tried to find out, does it work with this social bridging and bonding, and how did the participants use this idea? And well, and the idea was, and I make it very short here, that of course it is possible, but of course it had to do with the additional activities we had there. And I come to the point of the role of the group leaders as well, which is very important to start reflections and bring up this deeper social bonding into the systems. So in our WG, in our community, it was like this, that there was a program, but there was also the idea to have informal programs behind and to bring up the people, to take them the time to build up this social bondings. And I think it's a little bit similar to the situation Julia was talking about, that if you have a village or this future town she was talking about, where it's needed to have some common decisions, where it's needed to build something together, then it's possible to build up friendships. And Julia told us about the situation that she's in. So these friendships are not only for the time in the game, it's also for the time afterwards. And actually this is important thing for us in Youth Exchange, because this is what we want to do with our programs. So a friend of mine, a colleague from another German-Polish office, always says that normally it should be not interesting for us as the founding organizations what's in the program. We want to know what's happening after the program. Yeah? So do the young people meet after that? Is there program in the program for the non-formal program? Yeah? So is it not all the day filled up with duties? It's also possible to meet after. So I already talked about this. So the question of the leaders and the role of the leaders is there very important, and they build up, or they're responsible. They are creating the framework for this deeper exchange and the reflection, and they should support the processing of emotions and promote the development of resilience. So our conclusion and outlook is, and I want to make it very short because we want to use the time here for practical development, is that of course our Play It Forward process showed us that there's a very, very deep power to connect people through games. Also, and I wanted to support this with this picture I chose. I asked ChatGPT not to use the standard. The first leader role, of course, was a white man showing where it is. So I asked here to use something different, and I think it's a nice picture here that there's wheelchaired women leading this group. So I think there's a big potential here for bringing young people together through games. although there will be young people who did not ever access before in youth exchanges because of the possibility of getting a visa, getting a flight, paying for the flights. So for us as the community of international youth work, it's a very interesting thing, and we should really take a look on this potential. And this is my invitation for all of you to have this in mind. There might be a big list of things who are deeply boring or deeply unsatisfying using games for youth exchanges. But there's also a long list and a long potential of things might happen with people we did not yet achieved, we did not yet reached for our programs, and this is what we want to develop here with you. So the whole day is about trying something out, getting something together and networking. So I saw the people from Cologne, they were a little bit late today, so use this connection to these young ladies who are involved in game design to bring up this potential into the pedagogical framework and connect each other. So my last thing is not to forget to have an invitation. There will be a second part this year about how to develop these programs. We have still some free places in our project lab in December. So use this invitation. We already have some really nice applicants, and we can also allow some people from international to participate, and we can cover their traveling costs partly. So, well, this invitation for now, but now we'll start with the next program part, and Matt will show us. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, all right. So now's the time where you get your hands into it, and we prepared 3 workshops. 3 workshops up on the screen maybe. So the first workshop will be about single-player games. So we're going to get into some small, tiny tools like Bitsy, Twine, Flick Game, tools you can do on one computer with one person, but we will also talk about how we can develop like a workshop out of this. So even though it's single use, maybe we can connect to others through the concept and to technology. This workshop will happen over there, in this workshop area. The next workshop is about multiplayer environments. That's like games where you can go into like Minecraft, where you connect with other people in the same world and do something together. We show you some other tools as well, but I think we'll do something in Mindtest as well. And this will be over there in the other corner. And the last one is simply called Beyond, because we are looking beyond screen-based games and dive into a little bit of VR, escape rooms, and performance. This is less technology, but also more. Well, it's a little bit weird, but it will be fun. And we would like to split you in 3 groups. So let's just have a show of hands if it magically works out by chance somehow. So let's see who is interested in super small, interesting, easy to do game environments. That would be the single player ones. Show some hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay, cool. So who is for the multiplayer environments? Mindtest. Okay, perfect. And who is going to go beyond? Okay, yeah, this looks like it fits. All right. Yeah, so the Beyond is upstairs. So we go up the roll stairs. I don't remember the side. Where do you walk up? I think here. I think you walk up here. Yeah, thanks. Exactly. And then we'll meet upstairs. And we have 45 minutes only. So it's pretty fast. So let's just go there. And afterwards, there will be the lunch break. Okay, so see you there.